Have you ever wondered what it really looks like to be the average American when it comes to money? Not the dream version we see in ads or on TV, but the reality of what people are actually earning, saving, spending, and owing. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the financial state of the average household in this country. Before we dive in, if you're passionate about understanding money and building a stronger future for yourself, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. Join our community where we talk openly about wealth, freedom, and how to break out of the cycle so many people feel trapped in. Now, let's start this journey. And be prepared because the truth might be more sobering than you expect. Let's begin with the most obvious piece of the puzzle: income. Every 2 weeks when you cash your paycheck, it's natural to wonder, am I earning more or less than the typical worker? According to the latest numbers, the median full-time worker in America brings in just a little over $1,000 a week. That adds up to about $52,000 a year before Uncle Sam takes his cut. Now, let's pause for a moment. $52,000 might sound decent on paper, but the story changes once taxes, Social Security, and Medicare are factored in. Depending on the state you live in, that number can shrink down to somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 in actual take-home pay. Suddenly, what seemed like a comfortable income doesn't stretch as far as we might hope. But income is only the beginning. The real test of financial security lies in what happens after that money hits your bank account. Are people saving it, investing it, preparing for the future? Or is it vanishing as quickly as it comes in? This is where things get uncomfortable. According to the Federal Reserve, the median amount Americans have saved for retirement is about $65,000. On the surface, that might not sound terrible. But let's peel it back. First, a quarter of Americans have absolutely nothing saved, $0 set aside for the day they stop working. That means 1 out of every 4 people you pass on the street is hoping Social Security will carry them through old age. For those who do have retirement accounts, the balances are shockingly low. People under 25 average less than $2,000. Those in their late 20s and early 30s, an age when careers should be gaining momentum, have around $14,000 saved. Even among those approaching retirement, the picture isn't much brighter. The median balance for people 65 and older is roughly $88,000. And here's the painful math. If you followed the standard 4% withdrawal rule, that nest egg would only give you about $3,500 a year or just under $300 a month. Imagine trying to pay for food, utilities, healthcare, and all the basics of life with that amount. It's sobering, isn't it? And it raises a tough but necessary question. If this is what average looks like, do you really want to settle for being average? If so many people are entering retirement with so little set aside, the obvious safety net they turn to is Social Security. But let's be brutally honest about what that actually provides. The average monthly benefit is about $1,550. That's roughly $18,600 a year. On paper, it might sound workable, especially if your mortgage is paid off, but let's put it in perspective. $18,000 a year isn't much more than the poverty line for a single individual in America. And remember, this is an average. If you had years where your earnings were low, or you weren't consistently in the workforce, your benefit could be significantly smaller. Some people barely receive enough to keep the lights on. That's why many financial planners suggest a radical mindset shift. Plan your retirement as though Social Security doesn't exist. Treat it as a bonus if it's still there. This may feel harsh, even unfair, but when you look at the long-term funding challenges of the program, building your own safety net is the only way to sleep well at night. But let's step away from the future for a moment and talk about the present, the way households actually spend their money right now. Because this might be the biggest reason why savings stay so low. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American household spends about $5,577 every single month. That adds up to nearly $67,000 in a single year. Now, here's the catch. If the typical household is spending $67,000, they have to earn at least that much after taxes just to break even. And remember, the median individual income after taxes hovers closer to $40,000. That gap explains why so many families feel like they're running in place, or worse, falling behind. Breaking it down, housing eats up the largest share, about $1,885 each month. That includes rent or mortgage payments, taxes, insurance, and utilities. Next comes food at roughly $690 per month. And transportation isn't far behind at $913. By the time you've covered just these basics, housing, food, and getting around, you're already staring at more than half of your income gone. So the question becomes, if this is what the average household spends, how much room is really left for building wealth? When people think about money, they often overlook one silent number that quietly shapes so many parts of life: the credit score. Right now, the average FICO score in America is about 715. That puts most people in the good range, which means they're paying bills on time and keeping debt somewhat under control. On the surface, this is encouraging, but averages can be deceiving. For every person sitting comfortably in the 700s, there are plenty more struggling with scores in the 500s or 600s. Those numbers come with real consequences: higher interest rates on mortgages, steeper car loan payments, even rejection when applying for a rental or a job. Your credit score is not just a number, it's a reflection of your financial habits, and it can either open doors or quietly close them. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room: credit card debt. This is where things get truly painful. The average household carries more than $9,000 on their credit cards. And like a mortgage or student loan, this debt isn't tied to an asset that holds value. It's mostly tied to restaurant meals long forgotten, shopping sprees, gadgets, or impulse buys. And the real sting comes from the interest rates. Many cards charge between 15 and 25%. Think about it: on $9,000 of debt, a 20% interest rate means you're throwing away about $1,800 a year just in interest. That's money that could have been invested, saved, or used to actually improve your life. Instead, it's padding the profits of credit card companies. And then there's the bigger picture: net worth. This single number tells the story of your overall financial health, what you own minus what you owe. According to the Federal Reserve, the median net worth for American households sits at around $122,000. That may not sound terrible until you see the breakdown by age. For those under 35, the median is less than $14,000. By the mid-30s to mid-40s, it rises to about $91,000. It continues climbing with age, but even for people in their 60s on the doorstep of retirement, the median sits just over $200,000. These numbers highlight a tough truth: wealth doesn't magically appear. It's the product of years of consistent choices: spending less than you earn, saving diligently, and investing wisely. Without that discipline, debt grows, savings stall, and net worth struggles to rise above the bare minimum. We've talked about income, savings, debt, and the cost of everyday life. But there's one more piece that ties it all together: how much Americans are actually saving right now. The national personal savings rate has been hovering around 5%. That means for every $100 earned, only about 5 are being set aside. Think about how fragile that is. One medical bill, one car repair, one unexpected layoff, and that tiny margin is gone. No wonder surveys show that nearly half of Americans would struggle to cover even a $400 emergency expense without borrowing or selling something. Living this close to the edge isn't just stressful, it's dangerous. And because of that, the dream of a traditional retirement is drifting further away. Decades ago, 65 was the magic number, the age when you could close your career chapter and begin living life on your own terms. Today, that milestone is shifting. More people are delaying retirement into their late 60s or even 70s, not because they love their jobs, but because they can't afford to stop working. So, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. The average American story is one of hard work, but also of financial strain: modest incomes, limited retirement savings, rising costs, mounting debt, and a savings rate that barely scratches the surface. It's a sobering reality, but it doesn't have to be your reality. Here's the truth that doesn't get said enough: the averages don't define you. You have the power to rewrite your financial story. By being intentional with every dollar, by cutting back on lifestyle inflation, by building habits of saving and investing early, you can step off the treadmill that keeps so many people stuck. And yes, it will take sacrifice. It might mean saying no to some comforts today so you can say yes to freedom tomorrow. But ask yourself, what's more valuable: a few fleeting luxuries now, or the ability to wake up one day and know that your future is fully in your hands? So, As we close this journey through the numbers, let me leave you with this. Don't settle for being average. The statistics we've explored are a wake-up call, not a life sentence. Your financial future isn't written yet. Every choice you make today is a brushstroke on the canvas of your tomorrow. If this message resonated with you, hit that subscribe button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and let's keep building a community where financial freedom is the rule, not the exception. Because at the end of the day, money isn't just about numbers, it's about the life you're building and the legacy you'll leave behind.